The Watcher. I met the Watcher when I was 18 years old. I was sitting there in my room one night. I think I was on a couple hits of New World Order, Dark Phoenix, Acid. No big deal. You ain't gonna see things that aren't there. This is a normal night for me, though. I also had other drug problems, like I had a heroin addiction. I was shooting up heroin at the time. Wasn't doing too good for myself. I was raving a lot, doing a lot of ecstasy, a lot of different kinds of drugs like ketamine, stuff like that. But I never had anything like a peer that wasn't real, But this really happened. Let me tell you about it. So I'm sitting there on my couch in my bedroom, and I live at a shaman's house. He's a Native American shaman. He comes from a long list of shamans, fathers, all shamans. And he has a house where he's very acceptable to all the religions, and he has Wiccans living here. He has Satanists living here. He has Christians, Muslims, everybody just kicking it. Really, there's no Muslims or Christians, but if they needed somewhere to stay, he would have let them stay there. And here I am. I'm just like a really cool ass friend, And I'm kicking it at my friend Tigger's house. When I'm sitting there and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm looking up at the corner of the ceiling, and I notice that there's something there that's probably been up there for a while, but it's like it camouflages in with whatever it's against, like a chameleon does. And so who knows how long it had been there, without me noticing it. But I noticed it because something didn't move right in the air. And when I got the full form of it, I was able to just map it out and then superimpose my vision upon it. And then it was easy to see it. I was just able to just pop out and look at it. And it was like a bubble floating in the corner of the ceiling, about 4 foot wide, 4 foot high, like a gasoline bubble, or like like a bubble. You can blow a bubble, but it was kind of sitting there stagnant in the air, moving. So I got up. And I went to put my hand through it, and when I did, it shocked me, and it shocked me like electricity, and it was really powerful, man. And I rejected away from it quickly, recoiled like a snake, and then I think I grabbed a staff I had, like a wooden staff, and tried to chop through it or something, and the same thing happened, like it electrocuted through the wood and everything. Now, another weird thing that happened, it's kind of embarrassing, but it's some real shit. And if I don't tell you the truth, the real way, the right way, you're never going to understand the polarity of the situation, or the integrity or the depth of how real this is going to be. So, I'm just going to tell you the truth. It shocked me, and here I am. Let's say the wall is 4 foot behind me. 4 foot in front of me is this thing that has just shocked me. Now the bubble comes in front of me. it stretches out to the same size as me. It's like a watery kind of bubble thing, and it stretches out to the same length as me and the same width as me, and then arms came out ahead. It became almost like a liquid version of a man the same size as me and everything like that. At that moment, my arms, I remember, like, somehow I got thrown against the, like, I got scared and I moved backwards. I was moving backwards and I hit the wall. I was scared to go left or right. All of a sudden my arms raised up like this. And my feet bound to each other and stayed like I was on a cross. Like I was crucified. And this happened to me at the age of 18. Shaman Tigger was having an orgy with two girls in the other room. They asked me to join in, but instead I was fucking with the spirit thing. So I tried to scream for help, but no one could hear me. It was weird, like I could scream so loud, but nothing came out. So there I was, crucified like Christ against my wall, looking at this man, water vapor image thing standing in front of me, like now 8 foot away. And then it slowly started to walk towards me. It walked so slow, it took an eternity to get to my body. It must have been like 10 minutes to walk. And when it got to me, it slowly walked right into my body. And as it did, it was like it absorbed into all the pores of my skin, like the liquid absorbed into me, and it all went inside of me. It became me. While it was inside of me, first actually, listen, as it was coming inside of me, this is the part I forgot about. I got really scared. I went into a really dark place. I was no longer here. I was like in a really dark place. That's all I can say. There was no light there. And this thing, I could feel it. Whatever had consumed me was consuming me. And it had consumed every bit of me. All the way until this much of me was left. This much, and this much. And when it was down to like this much, and it was only a tad bit of my existence left, this little energy charge of life, I could feel it in the center of my heart. Just as it closed, I said this prayer. I said, Jesus, if you're there, please help me. Jesus, if you're ever real, please help me. And as I said that last little bit of energy, I felt it deplete and I died. And then I heard, as I died, it was weird. Just as I died, it just kind of went black, and I heard the sound of hoof prints, like a large cat. It was a lion, and it was roaring, and its roars were getting louder, and somehow I could see backwards behind myself, and I saw a large row of trees, and through these trees came a lion. And now I'm looking forwards, and the lion's coming from behind me, and just as I'm like, just fading out to this nothing, it's nice and peaceful, this lion comes and goes, boom, through my back, and out the center of my chest, and my heart, and his whole body, I could feel it stride and leap through me, and shot through. And it's like, whatever, if this thing was bad, then it'll help me to not let it kill me. But if this thing was good, then it was all part of it somehow. I still got my theories on all of this, because of Lucifer being my father and all. But anyways, right at that time I heard underneath the house that we were in, I heard a cat scream in torment, like its last scream, like it sounded like, and you could hear it just like break. There was 12 cats that lived under our house. They were all named after strains of pot, like indica and stuff like that. It was indica, I think, that died. I'm not sure. It was one of them. One of Tigger's cats. But it was weird because as I came back to, I felt super powerful, but I was still against the wall, right? I just felt like a whole new me, like revitalized. But the weird part is my body started going through some kind of changes, like out of all the pores in my skin, this brown shit was coming out. You gotta mind me that you gotta mind what I'm saying. Like every day I'm going out and getting bags of dope, dude. I'm shooting up. So everywhere where I was shooting up, out of the holes was coming this brown goo, like just dripping back out out of my nose. All this mucus started coming up, and I started coughing up mad phlegm. Out of my ears was coming this runny shit. Listen, I pissed all over myself. I shit all over myself. And I came all over myself. Everywhere where you can excruciate anything I did, it was like the ultimate dump, the ultimate orgasm, the ultimate cleanse. It was gross, and it was, I don't know what I'm still very confused about a lot of it, but it's like it cleansed me of all of my problems like that. And then after that, it took me and it threw me against the other wall, and it knocked me out. And when it knocked me out, I fell to the ground, and I remember I peed. I woke up 12 hours later, laying in a puddle of my own piss. And so I got up, went and took a shower. I saw Tigger walking around. He said, "Hey man, got up in the bath? Oh, what was that? What were you doing in the bathroom last night?" And see, I never was in the bathroom, right? Tigger tells me he was taking a piss. And he said, when he walked in, he looked at me, and I was standing in front of this mirror. I was just standing there like, and with these like raccoon circles around my eyes. Looked like I was dead with black circles around my eyes. And I looked at him and said, "Uwe Ursai." And he didn't think much of it. He went ahead and took a piss and went back to bed. I don't know. Later I looked it up. I'm thinking one language it meant something like "we the people," and somewhere else it's like a root or something. I don't know. Never understood that one much either. But, you know, later on that night, everything just started going right for me. It was like timing just started clicking like you wouldn't believe. And I could jump higher, I could kick higher, I could run faster. I was doing much better at everything. Like as a musician, I was playing better, writing better lyrics, picking up like girls that would have never even gave me the time of day before. All of a sudden thought I was the shit. Just didn't make no damn sense to me. But I rolled with it. The jobs I always wanted, but I could never get. They were just like handing themselves to me. People were asking me to hold 100 grand for them here and there, protect it for them, stuff like that. I don't know. Things went well for 6 months, and every night it came back to me like it would come in my backyard, and I'd be like standing there like with my Joe staff or something, and it would appear in liquid formation as a man with like a Joe staff or something. Sometimes we'd have knives and we practiced with knives. It taught me a lot about equilibrium, and it sent me different friends that were real people, but I still don't know if they were quite real or not. But one of them was this gypsy, like elven druid dude. His name was Adam, and he had a girlfriend and or a wife, and their parents owned Sweeter Charity, and that burned down, and then it became Sweeter Charity, and they rebuilt that back up, and I don't know what happened to that. But Adam was cool. He taught me a lot about contact juggling too. I learned a lot about contact juggling from Adam. He taught me a lot about the Kabbalah. He was always trying to get me into the Kabbalah. But either way, this thing would come every night and train me. You know, we'd spar. Like if I threw a punch right here, it would throw a punch right there. So if I threw a kick, it would throw a kick. You know, we're facing each other. So any move I do, it does. And it's all reflection. It's a perfect sparring mate, you know. Just a reflective partner for sparring. It's great for exercise. I was always scary at first, but I realized after a while it wasn't there to really harm me. It taught me a large array of things. And then, one night, it told me, oh yeah, I gotta tell you about this. One night I had to go, there was like a 7-Eleven, it was 8 blocks from this house that we lived in. We lived in cheap housing, and it was in a ghetto. And you had to walk through a really bad ghetto to get to the 7-Eleven. But I was hungry or something and needed to go. And so I went. And when I got on my way back from 7-Eleven, these 3 black kids, I remember, they got off their bicycles. They were big. Like teenagers, you know, my age, 18, 19. Hopped off their bikes. They had guns. They stood around me in a circle with the guns bucked at my head. They told me, you know the drill, white boy. Unload your pockets. And I'm like, it was funny. It was like a tear just kind of dropped from my eye. I'm like, you guys, you really think you got a problem? You want to steal from me because you want to get a crack rock because that's your problem? Well, look at this. I pulled up my arms and I showed them all my track marks. I'm like, I got a real fucking problem. So if you want to shoot me, go ahead and shoot me in the back of the fucking head. I took 3 steps. I turned left and took 3 steps. First step, everything turned white. Second step, I heard a voice say, "Stop!" Then in front of me, I seen this face. It looked like a gray alien head. But it was all like in a white room, so it looked like it was part of the room, but a little head in a big white room. And it said, "Walk into me." And I took 3 steps, walking into it. Heard the gunshot. Then heard another gunshot. And then I heard some boy going, "You missed him." And it was like he disappeared. And then I could hear, all of a sudden I could hear these sounds way down the road. And I noticed I was 8 blocks away. I was no longer where I was. I was in front of my house, which was 8 blocks away. I already had my stuff from the store. Standing there looking down the road 8 blocks down at the 3 boys looking all around. And then they go, "I think that's him down there." I ran up in my house. Remember I told you I live with all these crazy people. I told them. So now I got like 12 crazy like magic users running down the road with pots and pans and brooms and sticks and stuff, going after these black people and chasing them right off down the road. It was crazy. But So I told you I seen it every night for like 6 months. And then this one night it tells me that I'm not gonna see it no more. That it's gotta go away. And go do its own thing or whatever. But it wanted to leave me a present. So it told me I could create anything I want, and that would be my present. Something living, something that would be mine. So I did. First, they put it was like a green screen in front of me, like a matrix board, like a computer, a CAD animator drafting board in front of my mind. And I put a dog on it, a loyal dog, a dog that would be perfect for life. And then I created this dog, and then I thought, wait, if I've only got one like wish, or what shouldn't I make like a friend, a perfect friend, a loyal brother that would like never like Jew me over and be the best friend ever. And so I started creating this dude, and I was like, oh, hold up, wait a minute. Maybe I could create the perfect girl, right? So I created this dynamite, hot-ass chick, man, with red hair, milk white skin. I created the height of her. She was really short. I created her to have green eyes, look like emeralds. I created her to have the serpent bloodline. I created her to have the Eye of Horus tattoo on her shoulder. Have pierced nipples, shaved pussy, fucking the skin tone, milk white skin, that she would look all sharp and like defined like a fairy. I created this chick like to a T. I even created her to have a Christmas name, Noel. And still, man, it blows my mind because it told me. After I created this girl out, I created her outfit, and I made her to look. I was really into vampire chicks at the time, so I created her in this black leather dominatrix kind of outfit, vampire-ish looking shit. And I created her to be really badass and be able to drink more than me and be a fighter, so that she wasn't a punk, And anyways, then the watcher tells me, it says, okay, you will meet her in 2 weeks in front of the castle doors. And it showed me a vision of these 2 oak castle doors with big black nigger knockers. And it disappeared. Everything went back to normal. A couple weeks went by. Here it is, the 14th day. It's the last hour of those 2 weeks, and I'm walking with my friend Scott, and I'm realizing I'm a doofus and I'm a dumbass, and I fell for some dumb shit. So I'm walking around with my best friend Scott in Tampa or Ybor City, Florida. Well, at the time, a punk rock skater kid, raver, drug dealer, just a club kid. I don't know, not really. Just like a devil kid, really. I've always been a devil kid. But this last hour of the 2 weeks, ain't nothing happened. I'm starting to realize that maybe I'm insane. And I do eat a lot of acid. And I always have and I always will. But I told my friend Scott, because we're sitting on this wall, this whole story that I just told you all the way up until this point. You know what my friend Scott tells me? He says, hey man, I think you need to lay off the drugs, bro. I think you need to stop eating so much acid. And this is my friend that likes to shoot coke with me. Well, anyway, I was like, maybe you're right, dude. Maybe I am insane. So we went walking around the corner, and we sat down on this curb on the side of the road. And I was just looking at my feet, kind of dwelling on what he said about how I needed to stop doing acid. And how I was wrong and I felt stupid for believing it in fairy tales. Scott sitting right next to me. Right then, I look up across the street from where we're sitting. It's a nightclub. This is the side of the nightclub, though. The nightclub is called The Castle. It's a gothic club. And it's 80s night, and they're playing like Send Me an Angel and stuff like that. On the side of the club where we're sitting, and I'm looking at these two big oak cathedral doors with two black nigger knockers on them. Just like the ones in my vision. I've never seen them before. I was just like, oh my god. And I was just staring at them in awe. Right then, this girl walks out. And it's the girl that I created in my vision, or like in my computer bank in my mind, when this thing was having me create a girl. I created her, and she came out. There was a couple boys hassling her. It looked like skinheads, with the laced up shoes, boots, and suspenders, and the bald head and shit. They were giving her shit, and she was like holding a bottle of fifth of Jack Daniels or something. And she was looking all badass in this little black tight leather outfit, with fishnets and boots and shit. She was badass. Biker's dream. But either way, and she I think hit one of them with the bottle in his head, and then cussed the other one out, scared him off. And then she went and sat on the curb across from me, went back to drinking, looking all pissed. And then another girl came out, and she looked really pretty too. She looked like Vampira, just like her. She came and sat down by Noelle. Turned out her name was Neosha. Well, I'm looking at my friend Scott now, and I go, Scott, man, you remember the girl that I told you I created? He's like, yeah. I'm like, that's her right there. I pointed to Noelle. He goes, no, man, dude, that's not... You didn't create her. He's like, I know that girl. They went to school with me 2 hours away from here in Lake Wales, Florida. I knew them from kindergarten and middle school and high school and all that. Lake Wales. And I'm like, really? It don't make no sense. I created her. Well, I still don't understand that. I created her, but she was already here. I still don't understand that. Unless I was creating what knew already existed, and I wanted it back in reality again. That don't make a lot of sense either. Well, anyway, so he goes over there to talk to Neosha. He's like, don't say nothing. I don't want you to weird him out. I went over and sat by this girl, Noelle, and I said, hey, can I talk to you? It's like, yeah. I'm like, look, man, I don't want to come off like everyone else, but I got a really deep story I want to tell you. It's about you and me. And, you know, some really spiritual stuff and all. I took her for a walk. We went for a walk. She wanted me to walk down some alley with her, and I was like, are you scared I'll rape you in that alley? She's like, shit, you should be scared I'll rape you. Anyways, it's good to say that we hit it off. Ended up dating. Everything went really well. We moved right in together. We had a really nice place. Me, her, and Neosha. And things were really, really awesome. Then one day I was sitting in a place where I shouldn't have been sitting, and a couple kids were playing with a knife. The cops came by, and because I was in the vicinity, they ran my name, and I had a warrant. They took me to jail overnight, but they let me go in the morning. So, when I got home the next morning, my girlfriend was laying there on the bed, buck-ass naked, drunk as fuck, like head spinning drunk, excited, like in and out of this world drunk. You know, I was laying there going, fuck me, fuck me. I'm like, okay. So I got up on her, made out with her a little bit, and started to fuck her. And she said, oh, Eric. My name ain't Eric. So, naturally, I jumped the fuck off of her. Who the fuck's Eric? Oh, I knew it was you. I'm just fucking with you. So I run out and I ask Neosha, I'm like, who the fuck's Eric? She says, well, when you went to jail last night, we went out to the Castle, that club, and it was 80s Gothic night, and she slept with this guy named Eric that looked like Count Dracula. At this point, it had been like months since I'd seen the Watcher at all. Like, it kept its promise. But the minute she cheated on me, and I got home and I found out about it, it was weird. Above her bed, I saw it. The bubble appear, and I could see it forming, like, you know, above her bed. And I said to her, I said, do you see that? I went back to her and said, do you see that? And she said, see what? And I'm like, that bubble above you. She's like, I don't see nothing, you're scaring me. Right, then I watched the bubble enter her, and then she started screaming. She jumped out of the bed and then like collapsed on the floor. She said from her knees to her feet and her elbows to her hands, she could not feel anything. She said it was like all the feeling had been taken out and they had gone to sleep. Then Neosha and her boyfriend insisted that we get my girlfriend naked and put her in a bathtub of hot water and rub her body to get it recirculated. So I was like, alright, whatever. We did that. While she's in the bathtub, everybody's like, we need to go to the emergency room. And I looked at them, I said, look, I know what it is, you all. And these kids are gothics, you know. I figured they would understand ghosts and stuff. I had been telling them about this the whole time. They acted like they believed me, but when it came down to it, they was like, man, you need to quit with your paranoid delusions, thinking you see ghosts and all this. It's just scaring people. Then they asked me to leave, to move out. So I did. Moved back in with my friend Tigger, the shaman, and the Wiccans, and the Satanists, and the Rainbows. That's how I got into the Rainbow Tribe. Well, anyway, a couple weeks went by. We were at the beach one day, all of us were swimming, all like 13 of us. It was like a coven of kids, it was awesome. And so we're all swimming at the beach, and I start getting calls on my cell phone, and it's from Neosha. Neosha's begging me to come back to the apartment. She says that she has seen it. She has also seen it. I've seen it, now she's seen it, now she believes me. She wants me to come back because it's attacked her 3 times since I've been gone. I said, okay. I tell all my friends what's going on, they automatically hop in the car with me. This Wiccan girl, she's a Wiccan high priestess. She came from Louisville, Kentucky. She had just shown up 2 weeks prior. She told me she dreamt for like 2 years that she was going to give this necklace that she had to a man that looked just like me in her dream. She said in the dream, well, she knew it was going to be me, but in real life, the people that told her she was going to pass it to me said you would know when the time's right. And when she met me, she knew time was right, especially when she heard what I was having to deal with. So she told me this pinnacle, it was a silver one. She's like, it was made by 7 different men on 7 different days with 7 different metals. And you could see it started like silver, and it was like bleeding over to copper and bleeding over to something else. I don't know what that was. But you could feel power in this thing. Either way, she said that she was to use it for a certain amount of time and then pass it on, and I would know what to do with it from there. But she gave it to me, and she told me that with your right hand, you push out energy, and with your left hand, you bring in energy. It's like a car battery. You're like a wizard, or if you was going to cast a spell, you would do it with your right. If you're going to receive, you would do it with your left, She tells me, they all tell me they can't go into the room, because we get there, and it's just like, Noel's in the bedroom. I look at all my friends, I'm like, are you guys coming in the bedroom with me? And they're like, no man, we can't do that. This is your shit, man. You gotta deal with it on your own. This ain't our problem. All we can do is give you guidance. But the girl did tell me what I needed to do was try to use the pinnacle to capture the thing that's in the girl inside the pinnacle, and to use my hand to drain it to the pentacle. Once it's inside the pinnacle, I can put it into my right hand, cast it out, but when I cast it out, I had to cast it into something. Then I had to consecrate it, like lock it so it couldn't open its way back out. And then I had to dig a hole 8 foot deep and bury it. So I went into the room and I put the pinnacle into my left hand and I put it out like, yeah. And I started to imagine the pulling sensation of water, like when you put your hand out of a car and you do this and you cup it and you can feel that feeling, like the energy of water or going into your hand. I imagine that energy, that feeling of your hand going out of a car window until it's like weird. I just kept imagining it, and I kept feeling the pull, imagining the pull, imagining it. The more I imagined it, all of a sudden it just started to happen. It really started to drain. And I seen the thing in the air. It was like a big bubble. And it started to get really small at one end and big on the other end, and the smaller end started going into the pinnacle. It all went in, and it was fighting at the halfway point, like going in and out. That's my strength in this, and it was hard. I was getting tired a couple of times. I wanted to give up, but I didn't. I kept fighting because I knew if I let go, it was all hell, motherfucker. So I just kept sucking on that thing, and I pulled it right. I pulled it all into the pinnacle, and I put it into my right hand. And I could feel it like jumping around, and I knew I couldn't hold it for long. And I looked in front of me, and I seen a mirror, a tall stand-up mirror. And I pushed it right into the mirror. As soon as I did, I seen a tube of lipstick. I grabbed it, and I drew a symbol. It took me about 5 minutes. I don't know what the symbol meant, but a few years later, I seen it in an Egyptian hieroglyphic book. They would put it on a sarcophagus. I guess like there was like two worlds, and when they would mummify the body, that's how it would go into the next world. But there'd be like a bad underworld, and the spirit would come from that world first and try to take you away. But if that symbol was on a sarcophagus, it would ward him away. So when this good spirit came around, you'd still be there for him to take. And I found out that's what I used to lock it up. And then I dug that hole 8 foot deep. Don't remember where I dug that hole anymore. But yeah, a couple times he did talk to me and said it was a watcher. Said it was watching me. I asked it why. He said it was its job to watch me. All I've ever learned about watchers since then is that they're the fallen angels. And it was their job to be the watchers of Rimmon. And I guess that's Lucifer's tribe, my father's people. So that was my next story. Oh yeah, me and Noelle, we're not together no more. I guess we're friends on Facebook. She has kids with some other guys. She's happy. She's got really nice she's a real nice body, and she's paid for some of it, and she's a really awesome chick. She's like she's into fitness. She's like a manager of like one of the really high rated fitness places too. She's a really cool girl, but we're just two totally different people. I don't know, I guess I didn't create her, but for the moment maybe I created the fantasy, and they looked at the land and she most depicted my fantasy or something. I don't know. Either way, I got more to tell, but this is the end of The Watcher.